Hey, everybody. Welcome to BBQ Nation. I'm JT along with Leanne Whippen, Hall of Famer, as you know. This is a show where we talk about all kinds of barbecue and food stuff. And occasionally we get somebody from Texas on, which is one of my favorite states. And today we've got JR Love. JR hangs out in Houston. That's where he hangs his hat, as you can see over his right shoulder there. And JR is the guiding spirit of the Cowboy Yacht Club. Hey, JR, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Uh, I've been to the Houston rodeo, but not to the barbecue competition.
You
Back
missed
when I,
out.
yeah, back when I was covering rodeo stuff, I mean, that was, a different deal. Tell us about that. I mean, we hear lots of stories, we see lots of pictures, um, but it's a big freaking
It
deal.
is a big one.
Yeah.
It's the largest, from my understanding. So it started about 1974. I started cooking there in 1976 with my stepdad. It's grown from about 20 teams the first couple of years to 250 teams, 1,000 tents, and 250,000 people in 3 days.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
how does that stack up, Leanne, to like the Royal?
The Royal and the Open, they have about 400 teams.
Okay.
But I've not been to the Houston Rodeo, which is shocking to me, actually. It's on my hit list, but I understand it's like a totally different vibe there than the Royal.
It's Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
It's Mardi Gras with cowboy hats and barbecue.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Is that why you're drinking ice water now?
We'll say it's ice water. The rodeo goes on. So after the barbecue, the rodeo starts 2 days after and goes through about 20 plus days of rodeo. And we're in day 15. And I've been to the rodeo almost every night because there's a concert after the rodeo and take guests and clients and friends. And it's Houston shuts down. It really is an event.
I'm gonna have to come to that one of these days.
It's a lot of
To
fun.
the barbecue part and the start of the rodeo. What kind of concerts? I know George Strait and Clint Black and those guys have played there a few
Oh,
times.
so let's see. I got my list over here.
Okay.
Tonight's Post Malone, then Old Dominion, Cody Jinks, Parker McCallum, Brooks and Dunn, and Luke Bryan ends the show. We had
Wow.
Reba McEntire open the show, Brad Paisley. I mean, it's just been
Wow.
crazy. Been a lot of fun.
That's cool. So tell us about how did you get started, JR, in barbecue and cooking in general, and take us through your progression there.
Um, I don't want to get too far back, but my mom was she worked retail, so she really didn't get home at night till 10 o'clock at night. And if I wanted to eat dinner, I had to learn how to cook. So I was a latchkey kid, get off the bus, go home, do my homework, open up, just cook my own dinner.
Yeah.
And my wife jokes and calls me a MacGyver in the kitchen because I've never looked at a cookbook. And I trial and error, just different spices with different meats and different way of cooking stuff. And some of it was absolutely horrible and some was really good. So that's kind of how I got started cooking. And then in college, same group I cooked with in Cowboy Yacht Club, but really a bunch of my fraternity brothers. We started cooking for the weekends and for the the dad's weekend, and that morphed into me starting an outdoor catering company for deer hunting and things for our fraternity's dads. They would take me down to South Texas, and I'd cook for a bunch of older men, the dads, and cook barbecue while they deer hunted, and I get to hunt for free, and they'd pay me, and that was awesome. And my stepdad really taught me how to cook barbecue, starting at the rodeo when I was about 10 years old. We won it in 1976. So the second year we won first place in brisket. So, but
Wow.
been doing it now for 48 years at the rodeo. Had a blast. I do about 4 to 5 competitions a year, mainly veteran driven and charity driven competitions.
Yeah.
And at home all the time, and then do a lot of wild game as well.
How do they run it there at Houston? I mean, is it the same like as a KCBS event where categories and calls at the end, or is that very similar or what?
Yeah, so we have brisket, ribs, and chicken as your three, and then you have Dutch oven and you have an open competition, and those are all turned in on Saturday. The last day, they tag your meat. You get to cook 2 pieces of meat for each category, and then it's a blind turn in, and they've got rotating judges of about, I think it's 10 to 15 judges per hour, because we've got, like I said, 250 teams, and they're judging all this meat all day long. And it's a blind draw, and you have a turn in time and a window, and that's how it works.
Have you won it since?
No. So I think there's a little politicking involved when it gets in the upper echelon, but for this year, we got 24th in ribs, which is top 10%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Last year, I got 26th in brisket. So we're always up there on one of the categories or not. We have not won the overall, except for when I was a kid.
Leanne, you wouldn't say there's ever any politics in barbecue, would you?
No.
I'll give you an example, and I won't name names, but if a title sponsor of the rodeo also has a barbecue team and they happen to win,
Oh,
you
no.
know, yeah, it makes you kind of wonder a little bit.
Oh, it's just one of those,
it's just coincidence.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure.
just one of
I'm
those
sure.
life coincidences. Yeah.
Now, I did go to lunch with one of the judges last week after the barbecue, and he's been judging brisket for 10 or 15 years. And he said this year's turn-in was probably the best brisket he's ever had.
Wow.
So the game has been upped every year. It used to be just a big drinking party and you happen to turn in some competition. Now it's pretty serious. The last 5 to 10 years been real serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a big drinking party, though, isn't it? That didn't go away.
Oh, it's Mardi Gras. Yeah. It's a Mardi Gras with barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah. So, brisket being of divine providence in Texas, how I say that because I can't tell you how many people we've talked to, and everybody from Texas thinks that their brisket, and rightly so in a lot of cases, is absolute best. And then you know how it spreads out across the country. What's the secret, JR, to Texas brisket?
Well, you got to look at the history of that. I mean, we were a cattle state, and brisket was a cheap cut of meat, and it fed a lot of people, and we just perfected it over the last 100-something years. And I've had brisket a lot of other places, and it doesn't compare to, in my opinion, to Texas brisket. The secret is dry rub. It's a dry rub, slow and low smoked, a little bit of hickory, post oak, and mesquite wood, which I think gives it a good pop.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, Leanne, you've judged all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional judge, which you are, among other things, how can you always tell if there's a team like, let's say, at the Royal or the Jack? Can you always tell if it's a team from Texas? You don't know who they are, but the way they season and the way it's cooked?
Not really. I'm headed down to Texas in the middle of April. Have you ever heard of the Syndicate Smoke down in Fort Worth?
I have.
Yeah. So I'll be judging there, and I look forward to that because it's Texas brisket. I mean, in most of the contests that I judge, it's KCBS, and a lot of the guys are just following the KCBS, tried and true method in rubs. So I can't say I can really tell the difference because it's usually like KCBS style, we'll call it. The best brisket that I've had has been down in Texas for sure.
Speaking of the rubs, a Texas rub, I think especially in Houston, we're really blessed with some great barbecue places. I think there is a Cajun and a little bit of a Spanish, Mexican, Tex-Mex hint to the rubs. Like I put cumin in my rub.
Mm-hmm.
I put Tony Saussure in my rub. So I think there's a little bit of nuance there compared to other places. Even North Texas doesn't really do the Tex-Mex kind of spices, but we tend to do that here in Houston, in my opinion. At least I do, and I like. But it's weird going from what we used to cook back at the rodeo 30 years ago, it wouldn't even score now. It was a wet mopped and it had vinegar and all kinds of different things. Nowadays, it's a dry rub, simple. You better have a good smoke ring and a good bark to it, or you're not going to score well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Leanne likes to eat good brisket
I
because
do.
she may be little, but she knows what she's talking about with a fork in her hand.
It seems like a lot of the brisket that I have down there is just really kind of salt and pepper. Maybe it's the place that I'm going. I'm not picking up the Mexican influence, but again, it could be where I eat. So
I like to make mine a little spicier,
Mhm.
a little more flavor. Just that's just me.
I like spicy.
And it's not spicy, and we don't use a lot of sauce, and
Mhm.
we don't actually put no sauce on the meat. I really don't ever put sauce even after it's done. Um,
So when
but
you're picking a brisket, are you picking prime or does it matter what
so for
quality you get?
competition, we're using either prime or wagyu.
Okay, same thing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then we have a big hickory rotisserie for our team for the Cowboy Yacht Club, and we do about 30 to 40 briskets a night for our tent to serve our people. We serve about 750 people a night on Friday night and about 1,200 on Saturday night. And that's just one tent, just one little tent in the whole.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people are out there. But we tend to, pull them at about 180, and then put them in a. I'll give a shout out to our head cook, his name Reed Johnson, who I went to A&M with, and so did our friend from Oregon. He invented a liner that goes down into the igloo coolers that seals it even better. And we steam them in those coolers for about 3 hours. They get up to 200, 205 while they're sitting in those coolers. And it makes it really tender. It doesn't make them mushy, keeps the juices in. It works really well, and it's easy to do.
Wow. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to be back with JR Love from the Cowboy Yacht Club fame in Houston right after this. Welcome back to the nation. I'm JT. We want to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef. Beef the way nature intended. And it's good beef. In fact, I got to tell you this, JR. Their son left Eastern Oregon and went to school in Lubbock. And he also went to work in a meat plant there after school to earn money and stuff. So
out there at Texas Tech.
yeah.
I won't say it's the redheaded stepchild because I'm an Aggie. So we'll just
Well, of course you are. So before I want to talk some more about the Cowboy Yacht Club, but before we do, I want to ask about your cowboy hat there, your hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's this is so there's all my pins for being a cook the last 15 years.
There you go.
Nice.
It's my cooking hat. It's fairly old. It's about a 40-year-old Stetson I've had, and I cook in it, and
It's nice.
it smells like barbecue.
Well, it looks relatively clean, I must say, for it being the color that it is.
Oh, if you saw it up close, so like those are grease stains.
Oh, there you go.
If you look inside the liner there, you can see the sweat stains and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's old.
I like it.
I've got rodeo tonight after our podcast is finished. I'm going out to the rodeo, so I have to have my hat.
There you go. Okay, let's talk about the Cowboy Yacht Club. Who came up with the name?
So that's kind of interesting too. So my wife, Wendy, she before we were married, she started it with a group of friends in 1989, and it's been there ever since. We have the same spot in the parking lot. We've always been there, and I'm not quite sure who came up with the name, but I'm going to credit my wife for that.
And I mean, and how? I mean, you don't think of cowboys and yachts, although
we're only 50 miles from Galveston, and
yeah,
her dad always had a boat, and a lot of our buddies have boats, and so and I believe there was an old country song about a cowboy yacht club. So that's where it came from. Is they would, you're down on the coast with wearing cowboy hats and fishing on the coast, and you know.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
get it.
So does everyone on the team have to have a boat in order to get into the group?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Or have a friend that has a boat, which is even better.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of like USAA insurance. If somebody in your heritage was in the
Exactly.
military, you're in type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. Out of all the stuff you do, Art JR, I was going to call you Robert, but then that would tip my hand to Andy. So I'm going to call you JR. All right.
Okay.
Um, of all the stuff you do, what gives you probably the biggest smile when you're done with cooking in Houston? I know you do a few other ones, but you're not on the circuit in that. But
Sure.
Houston to me really is, with my background, it is the big deal in barbecue.
You know, the rodeo itself, the World Barbecue Cook-Off at the Houston Rodeo, it's having all your friends there, and it's a lot of fun. It does go to charity. It does go to scholarships. Um, Honestly, one of my favorite things I do is the PTSD barbecue here in Houston is for Camp Hope. Camp Hope is a facility for PTSD sufferers, and they don't just treat the veteran; they bring in the whole family, and they live there. And
Oh,
and that barbecue raises money to build more facilities. We do it every year on Veterans Weekend or Veterans Day, and that one is about 40 teams. We usually have a really good country artist come in. Like last year, we had Mark Chestnut. We've had some really good talent. It brings in a lot of money. I'm really proud of that one. It's a lot of fun. I do several other charity cook-offs that I like to cook, but also like it to have a purpose, not just to win a trophy.
yeah.
So we do 4 or 5 charitable cook-offs a year, and then we'll do a couple of different competitions as well.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I like Mark Chestnut, by the way. I always
Oh yeah, great guy.
Is he okay? He had a
Yeah.
heart problem or something earlier.
You know what? He sat on a stool and banged out for an hour and a half on stage. He was great last year.
Oh, good, good. So, what's the favorite thing you cook? I know you do brisket. That's you've got to, or you can't be considered a barbecue guy in Texas. But
Right.
you do ribs and chicken, and then when you're not competing, you do other stuff. Um, what's your favorite to do?
Brisket's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
It's probably what I'm best at. But I think I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of wild game cooking as
yeah,
well. I love sandhill crane, ribeye in the sky. We hunt those quite a bit down here on the coast, and they are absolutely delicious if they're reverse smoked, seared.
yeah.
Um, do a lot of white-tailed deer, do a lot of elk. Um, you name it. If it's wild game, we cook it. But brisket's probably my best. We have a so our team is kind of split up in divisions. We have 8 guys that cook, and I think 6 of us are all fraternity brothers from 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And so we have one guy, John Benton, that does a great job on the ribs. Reed Johnson's really good on chicken. Tyler Gurney, who is on our team, he's a new addition. He's a pit boss at Pinkerton's here in Houston, so he's really good at overall, and he's also a classically trained chef. So we all have kind of a specialty, and we lean on those guys to do what they do best for the competition.
When you
Now,
do chicken, do you have to turn in a half chicken?
Correct.
Okay, so it's different than KCBS. Yeah, I like that.
It's 1/2 chicken. It's not
Mhm.
quartered. No, it's a half a chicken.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
wonder how the chicken feels about that.
Probably not very good.
By the way, I'm going to reach out to Tyler after the rodeo's over.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I will get to him. We're in the middle of a bunch of stuff up here, so
He does 60 to 80 briskets a day,
Wow.
every day.
that's a lot of brisket, man.
Yeah.
A lot of brisket.
Pinkerton's is a great restaurant, great barbecue place here in Houston.
I was trying to think. First, one of the first shows I ever did in Texas was in Beaumont.
Mhm.
Okay, and I went to downtown Browns over there in the Holiday Inn because I heard the George Jones song, so I had to go see downtown Browns, right? And I had a friend, he lives up here now, actually, who said, I'm going to take you to lunch, get you some real Texas barbecue. He's got a pretty thick accent. I said, okay, Stevie. He takes me way out in the boondocks out there somewhere in this little like gas station type thing.
Hmm.
And that was in like 1982 or something. It really made me change my thinking about, because we're Yankees up here, right? And so all the barbecue has a lot of sauce on it and all that stuff, but it really changed the way I was thinking about it. Anyway, we got to take another break. We're going to be back with JR from the Cowboy Yacht Club in Houston right after this. Welcome back to the nation. One of the people that always supports this show, because she is on this show, is Ms. Whippen right there. And she's got stuff. She's got a
Yeah,
lot of
pig
stuff.
powder. Yes, my dad's award winning. And it really is. It won the best, I think it's one of the biggest awards, best rub on the planet. And it is sweet with a little bit of heat, and you can use it on multiple things. As you know, you've done it.
Yep.
And I won awards with it. And there are teams out there right now winning lots of awards with it. And it's available at pigpowder.com.
There you go. And you got some spicy.
Spicy pig powder's coming out. Yes, I keep saying that, but it's getting closer and closer. I'm thinking the delivery will be mid-April, to be realistic.
I'll be expecting some up here in Yankeeville.
We'll get some for sure.
You got to
Yeah.
try some of hers, JR, just for
I
fun.
want some.
It really is good.
It's very.
What kind of heat are we talking about?
Well, it's got a little chili powder and cayenne in it. It's subtle back heat, but the rub itself is a beautiful rub because when it caramelizes, it's really gives your meat the mahogany. It's best on pork and chicken, in my opinion. I mix it with more of a salt and pepper rub when I'm doing brisket. But it's
Sounds
great
good.
on veggies, seafood. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to try it.
Yeah. I use it on green beans, scallops, eggs, the whole thing. It's really good.
Mhm.
There's a unsolicited pitch there from me, but I'm telling you, it's really good stuff. Anyway, JR, back to your cooking there. One of the things that sold me on having you on the show was you do a lot. You touched on it the last segment. Do a lot for charity, and I'm big on helping veterans, as Leanne knows, and also trade school scholarships for kids. They don't all have to go to law school or get a degree in science, whatever
Sure.
it is like that. But I want to reach or pick your mind a little bit, excuse me, about what made you decide to start supporting like the PTSD camps and that type of thing.
So my former in-laws were all military, and even though they're my former in-laws, I got divorced, but I still love them, and they're great people. And I got to see a lot. I got to see a lot of PTSD survivors that were friends with my family.
Sure.
So that really got me thinking, how can I do something towards that with something I love to do as well? So another fraternity brother, I have a pretty strong network of fraternity brothers here in Houston, was on the board at the PTSD, and he said, "Hey, we're thinking about starting this barbecue. What do you think?" I said, "Great idea. I'm in." So I was the first team that joined. That was I think 15 years ago. So it's grown from 5 or 6 teams now to 40 or 50 teams. Like I said, Mark Chestnut came out last year. They donate back their money usually. So it's a really good cause. You get to hear some really great success stories. It just makes you feel good, and to give back to those guys, it's worth it.
Yeah. Do they ever get a chance at the camp to actually like cook with you guys?
Oh yeah, they have their own teams now. They'll
Oh, wow.
a lot of the PTS guys that live at the camp at Camp Hope will put together their own teams to compete, and that's a lot of fun to see that. And then we donate the meat that we're cooking at that barbecue. We turn in some for competition, but the rest of it, the teams have to cook a certain amount to donate to the public food booth.
Uh-huh.
So friends and family of all these people that live there. I mean, there's several thousand people there. We're cooking for all of them. And just to see the group get together, get to see those families together and friends, and then they have testimonials of these people that were, near suicide, on the street, living on the street, things like that. To see them stand up and testify and talk about what Camp Hope's done for them, it's just, I'm getting choked up thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they live there? Did the families live there for, I mean, does it go on for a long time, or are they there for a month or two, or what?
They usually rotate them out in between 6 weeks and 6 months. It just depends on the veteran. But the whole family moves in, and they have, I think, over 60 therapy sessions a week. They have guidance career counseling. They have, if you need to help write a resume, they help do that. It's really all immersive and getting that person out of that mindset of I've been in Iraq for 5 years back to the real world. Because these young kids didn't know anything else other than going in there and kicking in doors,
Right. Right. It was very similar in a lot of respects to what we did in Vietnam.
Right.
Different side of the world, but a lot of young guys.
The rules of engagement there were completely different what they're used to in the normal world over here, and they just got to get a reset, and this is helping them do that.
That's great. I love that. I absolutely love that. When you're cooking, is it just a party atmosphere for you guys the whole time? Pretty much
90% of the time, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say we take an hour out of the day to trim the briskets, rub them down, and put them on the pit, and after that, it's it's pretty much game on.
Time to crack open some beverage there.
I think. See, our tent. So like I said, we have a very small tent compared to some of the others. Some of these tents spend $1 million in 3 days.
Wow.
I mean, it's insane. Huge. Open bar, live music, dance floors, you name it. We're very basic. We're one of the few non-corporately owned or funded tents. We're members only. There's anywhere from 55 to 75 members every year. Everybody chips in their quota, and we have a little $35,000 party. It's great.
How big's the tent, JR?
40 by 40.
That's decent.
Big white, white,
Yeah.
Ours, I think it's 40 by 40.
Where do you put all the people, though? I mean,
so
you said there's, I don't know.
So what we do is we have a corner spot, and so we have cocktail tables on the outside of the tent also, but we serve from 7 to 9, and we serve 1,000 people from 7 to 9. And as you eat, you get up and give up your seat to somebody else. And at 9 o'clock, food's gone. We fold up the chairs and all the tables, and we have a DJ, and we turn it into a dance floor, and we get the party going.
I gotta come hang out there.
You gotta come, man.
So long, they have it down to a science. It sounds.
Yeah, it does.
We've got it down. It's really, I mean, like I said, our team is all volunteers. We don't have any corporate sponsorship. So we have a teardown team, we have a setup team, we have a cook team, we have a trash team, we have the beer team. We have, everybody has a job in the tent. So it runs very smoothly.
And do people, you said it's members only, do they, is there an admission fee, or do they pay a fee to come eat?
So roughly it's $500 per member. And then for that, Friday and Saturday night, you get 8 wristbands to give to guests. So that's how you get about 750 to 1,000 people going through there.
Yeah.
The other tents, we're cheap. It's a basic party, have a good time. A lot of these other tents are, like I said, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's insane what they do. But it's all part of the experience. You've got the carnival going on in between the rodeo. It's like I said, there's 250,000 people in 3 days there.
How do they, back up a second?
Sure.
Do people ever, bow out and give up their space? I wouldn't seem like the guys that are really rare. Yeah.
Rare. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had a big dropout this year. Jack Daniels withdrew. They've been a big sponsor of a big tent for 25, 30 years. They weren't there this year. I heard they withdrew from the Vegas rodeo and from Dallas or Fort Worth barbecues.
Wow.
I didn't
That
know
was that was a big shock to us. But like my tent's two down from United Airlines. I mean, there's some big sponsors out there.
Yeah. Wow. That's
But when someone does drop out, it gets snatched up quick by the tent next to them to expand their tent because there's finite room.
yeah.
Yeah. So
This you like kind of give us a visual here, JR. Is it, the serving area, but are your pits out back?
no, your
Or,
pit's got to be contained in your space.
really?
Really. So we have a nice little old hickory rotisserie smoker,
Right. You said that.
eight
Yeah.
by 8 foot by 8 foot box on a 12-foot trailer, and it's basically the front side of our kitchen, and the kitchen goes behind the pit on the long side of the tent, and then the rest of the tent is we have some restrooms in one corner, we have the beer in the back, and tables out in the main area. I mean, a friend of mine has a pit on his tent. He has 6 spaces. And his pit's 43 feet long on a gooseneck trailer. It holds 100 briskets at a time, 200 racks of ribs at one time on one in a firebox. It's an offset firebox. It holds almost a half a quart of wood. It's the biggest darn thing you've ever seen.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah, there's and they serve I think 3,000 people a night.
That's a lot of wristbands.
It's a lot of wristbands. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's all good, but it just, not being campy here, but everything's bigger than Texas, and it doesn't surprise it doesn't surprise me to hear you describe your friend's pit coming in on a gooseneck and
I mean,
40 feet long,
triple axle. It's huge. I mean, and like the barbecue itself, it takes up all of NRG Stadium's parking lot. It's a tent city. It goes up on Sunday before we start on Wednesday, and it comes down on Sunday at noon that week. I mean, it's amazing how they put this thing up and get everything in and out of there. I don't know how they do it.
Wow, that's incredible. Hey, we're going to take another break, come back and wrap up the show with JR Love from Houston, the Cowboy Yacht Club. But JR is going to stick around for after hours. I didn't tell him about that. So we'll be right back.
Good. It's a surprise.
All good.
Stop there.
He's got a rodeo to go to, right?
I know. We'll make it short.
I'm good.
15 minutes of your time.
Hang on a second. Anyway, okay, here we go. Welcome back to the nation. That's BBQ Nation. I'm JT, along with Ms. Whippen, who's going to be in Texas here in about a month, I guess, roughly about a month. Maybe you can swing down and see JR in Houston on your way home.
Yeah, April 11th is when I'm headed down there.
Okay.
Come on, see us.
Yeah.
I'll take you on a
barbecue. There in a day, though. I do the event and then I have to come back. So
I'll take you on a barbecue pub crawl.
Oh, I would love that. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll stay longer.
I've got about 10 of my favorite barbecue places in Houston that are famous that we could just go and taste each one one day.
God, that would be so fun.
It would be.
My flights. We'll talk after.
So JR, are they? I think the guys from Grab 'em in the Brisket, they're friends of ours, and I had told them one time that. I said, they didn't know this. I said, back in the early days when I was first starting to go to Texas, the tradition was if there was a dead armadillo, they put a Lone Star beer, in its little paws alongside the road. They thought I was crazy, but I'm not. And I knew what I was talking about. They still do that?
Yes, and I have one taxidermied in my house. I really do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I've actually eaten one of those, and it's absolutely disgusting.
An armadillo? Yeah.
I mean, I lost a bet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We barbecued it, and it was absolutely the worst thing I've ever eaten in my life.
Wow.
Ugh. Doesn't taste like chicken. Let's put it that way.
No, it doesn't taste like gator or anything like that. No.
It tastes like greasy, stringy.
Oh.
Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like people who, once in a while, I'm sure there's people still in the country that eat possum. Not this
Mhm.
cowboy. No, I'm not doing that.
Hey, yeah, my brother hunts squirrels in Florida. They're pretty darn good if you cook them right.
I heard squirrel's good.
Squirrel's not bad, but possum, I can't do it. I
I,
just,
I have not had a possum, but I have eaten armadillo, and it's absolutely disgusting.
okay. Well, we won't ask you to share that when we come to Texas. How's that?
Good.
It's all good. You said you either use Prime or Wagyu. Is that uh, readily available? I'm sure it's all the good
Oh
beef
yeah, I mean
is
there's
available down there.
several
Yeah,
really good meat purveyors that have their own Wagyu stock, and then there's several good barbecue barbecue stores that kind of sell as a loss leader.
yeah.
Get you in the store to buy a barbecue pit. So yeah, there's several places to get really good Wagyu.
How long does it take you guys to prep? I mean, when you get it, because we talked to a lot of these competitors from time to time, and they're prepping before they leave home. They're trimming. Some of them are rubbing already. Doing those things. But are you guys more of an on-site crew?
Yeah, absolutely. We get our prime brisket. So we cook prime for the everyday cook for our guests, and that's we. So when the party's over at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, we cut the cryovacs, we trim the meat, we rub them down, and it's an assembly line, and we put them on the rotisserie, the old hickory. Turn on we have the pit going, and leave them all night, and come back next morning. They're ready to go.
What time's your turn in down there?
So they stagger that. The turn in for the competition, which we do on a separate pit. By the way, we use short barrel smokers
Hmm.
for the competition. They're easier to control, and I don't have people coming in and out of the big pit, hurting my heat.
Right.
Um, so like our brisket turn in is usually around 3 o'clock. Chicken's usually the first thing we turn in at 11, and then the ribs usually at 1 o'clock, and then brisket at 3.
There you go. There you go.
And that's all on Saturday
And beer at 4.
at 4 a.m., 4 p.m., 4:30, whatever time. Yeah,
Well, I like that. Hey, you want to give a shout out to our old friend Andy Black up here?
I would. Hey, Andy, love your brother. Thanks for getting me on the show. Can't wait to see you this summer.
I'll have to meet you when you come up if
Absolutely. I think
I'm
we're going to come back through. We went halibut fishing last summer up there and really had a good time.
Nice.
that is some fine fish, halibut.
Yep.
We have an abundancy of that up here, but it's
I
great
cook a
stuff.
lot of fish too, being on the Gulf Coast, so it's fun.
You ever do mud bugs?
Oh, I had them yesterday.
That a boy.
I mean, it's crawfish season. We eat them all the time,
I love them.
once a week.
Um, one of the first times I saw my in-laws down there after they became my in-laws, so it's 30 plus years ago. I wanted some mud bugs, so my sister-in-law took me to the store. And if you actually find them up here, there's about this much space in the store for 'em, in the case. Not down there. They had a pile, and I was going crazy.
So the big grocery store down here is called HEB,
Yeah, heaps.
and during crawfish season, you can order a 50-pound sack from them. They'll have them,
Wow, that's
live,
interesting.
ready to go. Or you could pull up to the HEB right now on Westheimer, and they're out front cooking them. You walk up and you go, "I want 20 pounds," and they'll put them in the cooker, and you stand there and chat with everybody, and they then give you your 20 pounds cooked. They do it right there on the curb.
I love that.
But and I'm fortunate enough I insure a couple of restaurants here in town. One of them's Raging Cajun, and got to know the owners really well. And so I mean during crawfish season, I'm there once a week eating crawfish.
Man after my own heart, man.
Love it.
I'm telling you, I love mud bugs. Of course, I love seafood because where I come from, like
Absolutely.
that. But
No, like I said, the Gulf Coast has great seafood too. And Cowboy Yacht Club, we all have boats, right? So we go offshore and catch our own stuff, and mahi and all kinds of good stuff.
yeah, them Gulf prawns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So funny quick story about the shrimp down here. we go offshore in our boat, we always take a bottle of Jack Daniels and a carton of smokes. And you pull up to the shrimp boats, and the shrimpers will, if you give them a bottle of Jack Daniels or a carton of smokes, they'll just pour shrimp into your 120 quart cooler for you.
Wow.
Fresh, alive. And you just spin off from them and keep going. It's awesome.
I'm really gonna have to come down there. Not so much for the Jack Daniels, just the seafood.
I didn't say we drank it. I said we traded it for shrimp.
I know.
Come on, JT.
I know. That's all good. Makes
might
me
have
makes
some
me-
beers on the side.
yeah, I could do that. Makes me sad I gave up smoking. So, Robert, is there a place people can find out more about the Cowboy Yacht Club? Do you have Facebook or any of the social platforms?
We absolutely have a Facebook page called Cowboy Yacht Club. And it shows, it's a great place to go look at all our fun pictures and have a great time. And if you want to become a member, you can direct message the Cowboy Yacht Club. And if you live in the Houston area or not, we have people that come from Napa Valley, California. We've got people that come from Montana. We've got people from all over the country that come to our club.
I love that. See, Leanne,
Yeah.
we gotta find another event to meet up in Houston.
This one is the one I can tell already.
Join the club. Come on, Leanne.
That's what we have to do. I don't have a boat though. My son-in-law has a boat.
You live in Florida. That's perfect.
Yeah.
She loves around you.
She loves to fish too, JR.
We fish a lot.
Yeah, she loves to fish. You'll see those pictures on her Facebook and stuff. She's out there.
I haven't done anything recently though.
Well, you've been busy. But
wait till June. It heats up.
there you go. There you go. JR Love from the Cowboy Yacht Club in Houston, barbecue extraordinaire, recovering attorney, and just a great guy. JR, it's been great to meet you today.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Fantastic, guys. Great to meet you guys, and look to see Leanne in person. I'm going to take you on a barbecue pub crawl.
I want to do that. Yeah.
I'm going to see Jeff when I come up to Oregon.
There you go. There you go. We're
Maybe
going to get out of
here at the same time. We can have a little powwow.
Little powwow. We can do that. We got to get out of here. We're out of time, but I want to thank JR and, of course, Leanne. And we'll be back next week with another edition of BBQ Nation. And if you do the podcast version of this, the after hours will be right up. Thanks, everybody. Remember our motto: turn it, don't burn it. Take care. Welcome to After Hours, everybody, here on the Nation. I'm JT, along with Ms. Whippen.
Hello.
The pig powder queen and Hall of Famer right there. And today we got JR Love. JR, this is the part of the show where we ask you some kind of different questions, if you will. There's nothing rude, but maybe scratch your head a little bit. Okay.
All right.
I'll start with some of the easy ones, right? What's your favorite color lifesaver?
Wait, this is new.
This is new, yeah.
Green.
Attaboy. Green and red. You got to do the green.
Green lime.
Yeah. Okay. If you're driving by yourself in your truck or your car, what's the first song you want to hear on the radio?
Back in Black, AC/DC.
Oh,
yes.
Good answer.
Yes.
Very good answer.
I love AC/DC.
Or Highway to Hell. That's a pretty good driving song.
That's a pretty good driving song. Also, I think Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive is a good driving song.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Here's one of the more notable questions. So you tried and true. If you could cook for and then dine with a historical figure, who would it be and what would be on the menu?
Well, I cheated and listened to some of the other podcasts, and I know my answer to this question.
That's okay.
It'd be John Wayne and Ronald Reagan. I think that'd be a hell of a conversation. I would cook a kind of a mixed wild game. I'd do brisket. I would do some elk backstrap tenderloin. I'd do ribeye in the sky, Samuel Crane, and braised quail.
Love quail. Absolutely love quail.
Oh, and fried pheasant is probably my newest favorite thing I eat.
Fried
So
pheasant. That's interesting.
chicken
Yeah.
fried pheasant, it's
Huh.
absolutely the best you could. It's the best way to cook pheasant I've ever found.
Huh.
You remember what the first thing was you ever barbecued, grilled, or smoked? And I mean protein, not inhaled.
I'm not gonna own up to that. So yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned it in the prior show. My stepfather had me cooking out at the Houston Rodeo when I was 10 years old, and he won the brisket. He won the over. They won the overall. They were the Hernia Hill boys. Great name. They're older guys. They all went to A&M together, class of 58 or something like that. And they cooked brisket, and he did it completely different from how we do it today. It was a wet mop with a marinade of apple cider vinegar, one large chopped yellow onion, and one stick of butter, all melted. And you mop that over and over on a Weber grill, mind you. And that onion would caramelize into this black, beautiful bark, and the vinegar would permeate the meat, and the butter just, I mean, it was, I still do it that way at home. I think it's the best brisket ever, but you wouldn't win a competition with it anymore.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good. So, JR, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
No, eagle. I want to fly.
You want to fly?
Mhm.
Okay, I can get that. If you could erase one mistake, just one, from
Oh,
your
God.
past, what would it be and why?
It's a
I'm
tough
gonna.
one.
I might let Andy Black answer that one.
I'm gonna defer.
One mistake.
Yeah.
There's been so many. I do regret selling my law firm. I do miss practicing law, but it was a family decision. It was a decision that it made good sense at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not regrettable. I do miss it though.
Okay, if you could work with one of your barbecue heroes, if you have one, who would it be?
Well, I mean, he's not one of y'all's, and you don't know who he is. My stepdad. I mean,
Yeah,
he passed away this past year, and
Aw.
he taught me how to cook. He really did, and
there
I
you go.
miss him a lot.
Okay. So, if Leanne made you supreme ruler of barbecue for a week,
Mhm.
what would you decree as supreme ruler of barbecue?
Only Texas rub brisket, um, Texas red chili, which has no beans. Um, I get real upset about the chicken, how that's all judged now. There's got to be a better standard. I don't know what it is, but the chicken that won recently looked like an orange dog toy. I don't know what the hell it was.
An
So
orange dog toy?
it had an orange neon glow to it, and it won. It looked
Wow.
like a dog chew toy. I was like, what the hell is that? So I
Wow.
don't know, a little more uniform chicken standard. So that's be my decrees.
Okay, that's fair enough. I like that. Um, would you describe yourself as corn fed or grass fed?
I'm corn fed.
Yeah, boy.
I don't think I've had a salad in about 2 months. So
What's one thing you miss about your 20s, Art JR?
on my knees.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
got new ones though. That
I
work.
do too. I have both new ones. They're
Yeah,
great, but I miss my old body.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine went along the wayside with yours. It's in a
Yeah,
ditch somewhere in Amarillo, whatever.
absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah. Um, what's one thing that really pisses you off when you go to the grocery store?
People that don't know what they're looking for. People are just shuffling around the damn place. You know, I'm in and out in 10 minutes. I know exactly what I want. I know where it is. Get out of my way.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
And
Um,
never go hungry. Never go shopping hungry. That's a
no, that's
It's a big mistake.
big
I'm
mistake.
I'm living proof of that. So it's like that. Um, Dire Straits, George Strait, or I'm going to change this one because it used to say AC/DC, and now I'm going to say Alice Cooper.
George Strait,
Okay, he's the king.
then Alice Cooper.
Okay, okay, I like that. Boxers or briefs?
Commando.
Yeah, boy, I like it. I like it.
First one we've had.
Made you stop, made her
Like you
blush.
said, everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
she's blushing. I can see it from here. I'm
Oh,
3,000 miles away, and her little cheeks are all pink.
That's
There.
funny.
Have you ever? What's the worst thing you ever smoked? I mean, there's like one of this base question is, have you ever smoked a penguin? Uh, but you don't really have penguins in Texas,
Maybe
except maybe.
armadillos up there.
Armadillo.
Yeah, I would say that.
It was armadillo.
Tell me something. Did you have to take the shell off of it?
We cooked it. We
Or
cooked
did
it
you
in the
make a little
shell.
armadillo bowl and turn it on his back?
We cooked it in the shell. It was armadillo in the half shell.
Wow.
Did you gut it first?
Yeah, we gutted it,
I have to.
and they kind of picked the meat out of the shell. It was gross.
Mm.
Yeah,
There's no
There was
amount
a-
of sauce that would fix that.
there was a
shit.
lot of beer involved there,
There would have to be. With me, it'd have to be.
and afterwards. So
There'd have to be some single malt scotch in there too for
there
me
was some
somewhere.
whiskey involved. Yes,
Yeah.
there was. Yeah,
What's your favorite movie, JR?
Blazing Saddles. I literally have the poster on my wall over here in my office.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Somebody go back and get a shit pot full of dimes, or whatever that was. Yeah, I like that. Sweatshirts or formal wear?
I'm not a sweatshirt guy. Not really a big t-shirt guy, but I'm not really a formal wear guy. I'm kind of what I'm wearing right now. Button-down shirt or golf shirt.
Yeah, I like it. Last question for you here. It's because I know you got to get out of here, but you're in Texas, so this really applies. What would your last meal be on death row? You don't have to worry about calories or nothing.
I would like a bone-in Wagyu tomahawk, medium rare. French fries, cream spinach, and elote corn.
Very well balanced.
I like that.
And a piece of key lime pie.
There you go. I was wondering about what you're going to clean that
I
up
forgot
with.
about
at the end.
dessert.
Yeah.
Key lime
Yeah.
pie. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. JR Love from Houston, the Cowboy Yacht Club, and friend. Now you're our friend. Thank you. It's been a great pleasure.
It was fun, guys. I really appreciate it.
Very enlightening, everything that you said that you've done along the way in so many years. It's something I want to experience. So
Well,
we got to go down there.
come next year and bring your podcast. We'll do it.
Yeah,
We'll do it from the yacht
Yeah,
club.
we should do that.
We'll do it from the yacht club.
Okay. I was going to ask you before we go, you got a golf trophy behind you.
I've got a couple of them actually around here. I used to be a golfer. And Andy and I were on the golf team in high school.
Oh.
And I've reconstructed my shoulder 3 times, so I'm not as good as I used to be. But
Wow, you're like the bionic man between your knees and your shoulder.
Yeah.
had 30 surgeries. So yeah.
Holy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a new record, I think.
I might be. I've had 18 knee surgeries, 3 shoulder reconstructions, back operation, neck, and some other stuff.
Did you play football?
I did.
Yeah, that's usually the culprit.
I was a human blocking dummy.
Oh, wow.
All right, JR. That's going to wrap it up for us, folks, for After Hours this week. You can find all our podcasts and our shows after they get off the radio as usual. They're out there somewhere. You don't have to look too far. So for JR, Leanne, and myself, I'd like to thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another show. Until then, go out, have some fun, cook some barbecue, and remember our motto, turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.